In this video, I want to share my freelancing journey, my whole journey from 2015 up until this point. I personally love these types of videos because I'm the type of person who actually learns by watching others, seeing how everything is done, actually taking a look at the details of what is necessary to achieve something that I want to achieve. However, the problem that I face is that most people or majority of people don't actually share behind the scenes of what it actually takes to achieve something, or how long something takes, or basically all bumps and different roads that can lead you somewhere. My journey is definitely not a straight line. It had ups and downs throughout the last 10 years. And I basically just want to go through each of those years, starting from 2015, and just show you what I did during that year, what was my mindset, what I was earning each year, so that you can have a way better understanding of how the whole journey looks like, and that it's okay that if you have some pitfalls, or that you need to celebrate your successes along the way. So hopefully in this video, while I'm going through my whole journey, you will be able to sort of pick up some things and have a way better understanding of what it takes to achieve a certain level of income or success, or maybe just give you a lot of ideas of how things basically turn out. And quick side note, they don't always turn out the way you imagine to. You can still achieve your goals, but you will take like a path that you didn't even realize existed before. Okay, so let's jump into this first slide, because I do have some slides prepared, and I want to showcase each year what I did and how basically what happened during each year. Everything here is in euros because I'm from Europe, so I do calculate my income in euros. But for my international friends, as you can see, 100,000 euros is basically almost the same as $100,000. So whatever you see here, it's basically the same amount in dollars, maybe just a little bit higher, but generally speaking, it's pretty much the same. And the reason I want to start from this specific slide is not to brag or showcase, but to actually, because many people, or many thumbnails on YouTube, or many blogs or videos that you watch, they always say, I went from zero to something in like one night, or I did something in a month and I earned like $1 million or something like that. It's always something really crazy. And to be honest, I could do something the same. I could literally title this video of like how I earned like $100,000 in 1 year, but it's not true. I didn't earn that throughout the year. And this graph actually showcases very well of how I started with barely 1,000 euros or $1,000, less than $1,000 in my first year. And then only like 6,000 euros in my second year. So it starts slow, and as you can see, there are like bumps in the road. Like I earn some, then next year I don't earn the same amount. I earn actually less, but then I earn more. So there is a lot more going on than just these big numbers. And I'm not gonna lie, it is tough. It's not easy. It takes time and effort. So I don't want this video to seem like this is some kind of overnight success. No, it's not about that. It's about putting in the time, putting in the work, and eventually, if you do something long enough, you will succeed. What I know now, also just interesting thing, because I learned so much throughout all of these years, I could reach that $100,000, 100,000 euros per year income. If I would start from zero, it will probably take me maybe like 2, maximum 3 years to do the same thing. So although it took me like 9 years, almost like 10 years since I started, with what I know now, and if I would start from zero, I could really ramp up things. So like knowledge and experience is very, very valuable. However, you cannot you cannot skip past that. You kind of have to go through this yourself in order to finally sort of achieve what you want. So let's go on to the next thing, and this is what I was talking about. I mean, you've probably seen this slide a million times, but still, it perfectly illustrates of how you plan. You have a goal. This is you, and you try to sort of, you think it's gonna kind of go smoothly, but reality is that there's gonna be a lot of hardships, a lot of different paths, and a lot of things that you cannot even think about or comprehend while you're basically planning whatever sort of is that you want to achieve. Let's say if your goal is simple, you want to start freelancing and your goal is to earn 100,000 euros. Well, you don't know where life is going to take you, but that doesn't mean you cannot sort of go through that and finally achieve it. But just be prepared of accepting, and adapting basically as you go along. But let's jump into the actual numbers and all of the years. So 2015 and 2016. So 2015 was basically the year that my whole kind of entrepreneurial and freelancing journey started. And to be honest, it started quite random. I basically was at the point where I learned a lot about business or watched a lot of sort of webinars, read a lot of blogs. I was basically just scouting how to make money, how to be an entrepreneur. Or technically at that point, that wasn't even a popular term. So basically I wanted to start some kind of a business. And few years, I was actually kind of looking at a lot of videos and blog posts and all of that few years before that. So for 2 years now or something like that, I was really into this kind of world. And then I got to a point where I was really frustrated with myself because I didn't take any action. And I remember I met one of my good friends and I basically said to him, that's it. I have to start something. Otherwise, what am I doing here? I'm kind of just fantasizing about businesses and freelancing and everything, but I haven't done a single thing. And so in this kind of spontaneous moment, my friend was like, hey, heck yeah, let's do something together. And we actually opened an e-commerce shop. We literally bought some products like some ties and bow ties. And we actually opened a Lithuanian e-commerce shop here in Lithuania. And we had some inventory. I mean, that's a whole other story. I probably we'll need a separate kind of video to tell. But basically, I'm so glad that I basically made this jump. I mean, it didn't work out, obviously. I mean, we ran for maybe 5 months or something like that until we killed that project because we made kind of just a few sales and we did fine. Now thinking about it, we did every single probably mistake in the book possible. But nonetheless, that actually led us to, okay, let's do something else. Let's try to do something else. And that is where we're kind of getting into freelancing. It's still 2015. And the first thing that actually happened was that we decided to go into writing. I think kind of online writing and writers it was sort of a kind of a golden age at that point. There was a lot of websites and businesses starting blogs. SEO was kind of a thing. So there is just a lot of online writing in there. And we kind of started to jump in and maybe see if we can write or maybe we can do something. We didn't even know what we were doing. Actually, our first idea was, to be honest, pretty crazy and pretty dumb if you really think about it. I mean, you don't even need to really think about it. But our idea was basically to take some take some freelancers from freelancing platforms, write some very cheap articles, and then translate them ourselves into Lithuania and then try to sell them. So I mean, you can already see how the logic doesn't work. We were trying to write first, then translate it, and then actually go out to see if somebody would buy an article, which is it has to go other way around. But either way, I mean, we were young and we were just trying things out, thinking of maybe this will work or something like that. But because we started this kind of mini, I mean, we didn't even, we were just kind of thinking about it. And I think we're looking for freelancers and maybe we found some, but we barely started. We didn't, I think, even order one article, but we were like in this kind of phase where we we're like already kind of planning to do everything and kind of signing up for freelancing platforms and stuff like that. And just a friend of a friend owned a website with some other people, and they actually had there was like an affiliate type of website, and they actually already had, I think, quite some success at that time. And so somehow we kind of got connected to them, and basically they said, hey, we actually need quite like we're trying to write a lot of articles, but they're and like very huge amounts. We're talking like about like hundreds of articles. And but we don't have, we have resources, but we don't have the time to basically just manage all of that. We need articles. What can you do? To be honest, first, actually, it's like a first week or two, we actually tried to write the articles ourselves, but then we realized that this is not going to work because what they're paying us for the article and how many articles we can physically produce, because we were not writers at that time, was very, very limited. And so we basically decided that, hey, we need some help. What if we can maybe outsource some of that work, and then, you know, through like a couple of people, and that way we can get a lot more articles done in a very short period of time. And we would be able to quickly check them, because, you know, writing takes much more than just kind of double checking. And then we can kind of upload to their system and basically kind of be a middleman sort of between the you know, the articles, the actual writers that are writing articles, and then the business that is receiving. The actual, like, we were upfront with the guys that, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and they were actually like pretty happy, because like, hey, if you can manage, I mean, we're paying you the same amount as we kind of agreed, but if you can manage that, that's fine. Let's go with that. Whatever you do, just, it's your job to manage the quality, the articles, the freelancers, and everything like that. And to be honest, this is the thing that kind of really took off for us. I think at some point we had maybe like 6, 7, 8 writers, maybe 7, 8 writers at that point. So, and there were like a lot of articles every week. Like, we basically kind of fell into this kind of business, and we actually started to generate some income, and that was kind of amazing. And that's basically where I kind of see sort of my freelancing journey starts, because technically we had a client, and then they were paying us for a specific thing, and well, technically we were not freelancing, you know, in any specific niche. We're kind of just the middleman. It's still, that's when I consider that we kind of started our journey. And then things really kicked off in 2016. As you can see, like, we went from I went from just less than 800 euros per whole year to like over 6,000 euros in 2016. And actually today it might not seem a lot, but for me, that was actually quite a lot. I've actually just Googled, and I don't think I even realized it at that time, but that comes down to just above 500 euros per month. At that time, the minimum wage was about like 300 euros here in Lithuania. And an average wage was about like 600 or something like that euros. So I was basically getting paid by like an average salary here in Lithuania, because I was also during that time, I was sort of not living here, but I was kind of receiving that. And it's crazy to think about how everything kind of spiraled on from there. And so we continued working with our client throughout basically the whole 2016. They were really happy with us. Everything kind of went very smoothly. And however, also during that time, I started to learn more about SEO, about freelancing, and I was also starting to experiment a lot more. So like me and my friend, we kind of wrote an ebook together. We tried to sell them on kind of Amazon. We're trying to do some affiliate websites. We're trying maybe to create a marketing agency. Like there was just a lot of things that we basically tried or thought about or took action, but then failed and didn't do. So it's a whole range of things. And I think this is kind of a key thing that nobody really talks about, but it's not like I decided to be a freelancer and then went on to become a freelancer. It was a chaos. It was messy. But that's the kind of the point. You basically just try a lot of different things and see sort of what either sparks your interest or what kind of you just lucked out and maybe you got some clients or something happens, but you have to basically try. And through these experiments, I actually got to a point where now I'm, starting to actually look for other clients, because that one client we worked with them, I think for a year at that point. Because we started like 2015 May and it was 2016 May or June of that year. And we were sort of seeing, okay, what else is possible to do? Maybe we can, get some other similar projects like that. And then this is really, really cool. I actually found this Google Sheet that once I started earning money, I started tracking everything that I earned so that I would know, how much I basically make. And I'm kind of a bit nerdy with numbers, so I do like to calculate and see everything in graphs and everything. I mean, you probably see already from this video. But what you can see here is that since we had a lot of business expenses, because we were paying like quite a lot actually to writers, and we were just keeping kind of a very small margin, what is left for us. I mean, small in comparison, it's actually quite nice wage. As you can see, like the first month I made, because this is just my personal income. So my friend made basically the exact same amount. So in total, if we were just one of us, we would be making like 12,000 euros, over 1,000 euros per month from just this one project. I mean, towards the end of the year, I had some clients and some new work, but generally speaking, it's majority of that is just one client. And as you can see, almost 2,000 euros in January. Then, of course, in February, because of the way sort of the cash flow works, I spent more on writers paying, but then the income was lower. But either way, it's just I ended up a year with over 6,000 euros in profit. And believe me, I was super happy and super ecstatic about all of this. And then it's 2017 and 2018 is basically kind of, the way I see it, is the next phase of my freelancing journey. So as you can see, in 2017 and 2018, I basically earned the same kind of amount, like about 25K. And that's a significant jump from the 6,000 euros that I earned like a year previously. And basically what I did, I was just trying to expand my knowledge, because now I already learned more about SEO. I actually was working, I even got like part-time job. That was, I think, in 2018 doing some SEO, but in 2017, to be honest, I tried everything. I tried a little bit of email marketing. I tried sort of working with ads and all of that stuff. But eventually kind of settled down into SEO world, learned more about that actually from the first client that we had, because while doing those articles, we basically, like, I understood I was very curious, what's the purpose? Why they're paying so much for some random blogs? And then I understood the value of SEO, which is search engine optimization, and then sort of that they're getting a lot of traffic from Google, and that traffic basically converts to clicks, and those clicks basically bring either ad money or affiliate type revenue. So once I understood sort of what it is, I just tried to learn more. First from the client, because they actually kind of were, I was kind of lucky because they actually taught me a lot. They gave me the basics, and then I went on, grabbed some courses, learned from YouTube. There were some online courses that I took, and just tried to do sort of as much on my own. Throughout these years, I'm just kind of living in Denmark and basically studying at that time. But then on the side, as a side hustle, I'm freelancing. I'm also sort of building my SEO portfolio, working with very kind of small clients, projects, and something like that. But the big breakthrough for me was actually at the end of 2017 when I actually signed up for Upwork. And Upwork is a very pivotal moment in my freelancing career, because from there, everything really started to kind of took off. Because until that point, I'm basically doing like freelancing as a side hustle. Even I'm not even sort of part-time, kind of part-time, but not really. But signing up for Upwork and starting to freelance from there was the key moment for me. However, it wasn't easy. I remember that I signed up in August of 2017. Technically in August, I actually got my first client, but I signed up in beginning of July. And then I tried to apply to as many jobs as possible. Of course, my profile is new. I don't know much about optimizing Upwork profiles or anything like that. And I'm just trying to basically get any job that I can. But it took me 2 months. And maybe in hindsight, it doesn't sound that a lot, but when you're like day 45, each and every single day you're applying and you're getting rejected, you're taking interviews and you're getting rejected. It's like, after like 45, 50 days, I mean, you're feeling, it's not the best feeling in the world. You're really feeling down. And but I kind of decided not to give up and just give it a try. Maybe the next one, maybe I can sort of get through this. So emotionally, I remember that I wasn't feeling that well, to be honest, because it was tough. I was trying to find some clients on a platform where I was being rejected all the time. But I'm glad that I stick out, because the first client that I found was quite a big deal. I think we worked like almost 2 to 3 months with that first client. And from there, it was a lot easier for me to get jobs because I had some feedback and some stuff. So whatever sort of you do, either it's cold emailing, cold calling, going to local businesses, signing up for freelancing platforms, the beginning is always the most difficult part. And that is basically what I understood. But if you push through, this is where the real fun begins. And if you go to 2019, this is, I mean, look at this. It was 25,000 euros in 2018. And then the next year, I'm almost like tripling this amount to 60,000 euros of revenue. So this again was this is basically where I went full time. 2019 was the year that I actually decided and sort of thought, okay, this is working very well. I need to go in this like full time and dedicate all my sort of time and resources. And some of the things that I basically did is a couple of things. So I did raise my prices when I started freelancing, because in the beginning I was charging very low. I was just trying to sort of get by and get sort of any client that I can. But once I kind of built up some portfolio, I built up some confidence as well. And I started to see that my work is actually producing results for others. I was a bit more confident to start rising my prices a little bit and sort of slowly transitioning to other types of clients who are willing to pay a bit more. I also, went all in on Upwork and actually got a lot more clients through them, which, allowed me a lot more projects, a lot more clients, and with raised prices, as you can see, sort of, income really increases. But one of the key things, I think, what also allowed me to sort of raise prices and get more clients and all of that stuff is I got like one very long-term contract that I worked in 2019, and this kind of gave me a bit of stability. It was kind of a relatively kind of a large amount of money, and it was kind of a long-term client. I mean, at that time, I didn't know if it's going to be a long-term client, but while working every month with the client, I kind of knew that the next month will also work. So every single month, I got some kind of an assurance that, oh, this client is kind of staying, they're happy with me, they're working. So it means sort of we're gonna work together. And this allowed me, some flexibility. I was able to sort of spend more time getting more projects, raising my prices for the other projects that I'm kind of trying. And I was a bit more picky with the clients that I can get. So definitely like in a freelancing world, I highly suggest, trying to find and build relationships with clients. Because if you build strong relationships and you kind of aim for this longer term project, this will sort of give you the cash, the flexibility, the confidence, and the overall sort of portfolio and case study afterwards, which is going to be very, very valuable. So if you only stick to very short term, small type of projects, in the beginning, this is totally fine, but eventually you should transition to this. And when I transitioned to this, I mean, you can see my income basically kind of almost tripled. However, one caveat. So a few years like prior, like at 2017, I think, or maybe 2018, 2017, I started this kind of small affiliate site. And actually in 2019, I sold that site. So technically, this I should take about like 10 or 12,000 euros off of this amount, because this was the sale of the website. So when I sold the website, I got an influx of over 10,000 euros in my bank account in just 1 month. I mean, that was just crazy, to be honest. When I first did it, it had nothing actually to do with freelancing, but this is actually kind of another thing. The affiliate website was purely based on SEO. So although it has nothing to do with my freelancing journey, it was kind of a separate side hustle. I built a site from scratch on my own, hired some freelancers sort of to help me with content and branding and everything, did all of the SEO. The site started to generate revenue, and then eventually I sold it because I kind of received an offer and I was like, hey, this is great. Let me sell it. But in my case, this is another thing that I do recommend you do. Whatever sort of your niche is, you should try to do some personal projects with that niche so that you can later showcase that to the client. So for example, since the affiliate website was like the main acquisition channel was SEO, and my main profession as a freelancer is search engine optimization expert, that site not only sort of gave me a really good case study of how I built a site from zero to like from nothing to a certain amount of traffic, but it also allowed me to learn a lot more about SEO and how it works and what tactics and strategies kind of work for that thing. Because majority of the stuff that I learned building that site, I was then able to transfer all of that knowledge to my clients' websites. And since with my own site, I have way more flexibility and, and room to experiment, I was able to do a lot more. So this type of site, although it has nothing to do with freelancing, it did, generate revenue, of course, and profit when I kind of sold it. But it also allowed me to have a very, very good case study, which then I can showcase to my clients and get, even better projects. And then 2020 happened. And I mean, we all know what 2020 was, kind of a chaotic year, COVID and stuff like that. And you can already see that I basically, my income jumped from 60,000 euros to barely 40,000 euros. So quite a substantial decrease. And, I lost clients. I was basically just trying to survive at that point, just scrambling and looking for projects and stuff like that. Funny thing is that I also actually started this YouTube channel back in 2020, although I was making completely like different topics and everything. I was just also experimenting and seeing sort of what works. But it's just funny that whenever sort of life throws you like a curve or something happens, My personal suggestion, just always try something else. Just dabble, learn about something else. Life is not static and it's always changing. So whatever it is that you sort of want to try, always give it a try. I started a channel in like what, 4 years ago. But it evolved also. Like I went through a big cycle of things and videos that I want to create, and I finally found what is that I want to basically put on YouTube and to teach others. And it's freelancing. I kind of consider myself having quite a big and successful career in freelancing, and I personally think it's one of the best ways that you can kind of go independent, because starting a business might be a bit more complicated and way more frightening, and it's just there's a lot more complexion to that, and a lot of people are not ready to take the jump from their 9 to 5 to starting a business. But freelancing, this is kind of in the middle where you take kind of responsibility of kind of managing your own finances, your own clients, your own work, your own hours. And through that, I think you're building a very strong character and your traits that and the things that you gain, like confidence, ability to speak with clients. There's so much more to freelancing than just doing the work. There is a lot of admin and all of that stuff. If you go through all of that, I think it makes you a better person. So 2020, just a crazy year. I'm not sure what else to say. It's a bump. I never expected, from my top year of 60K to basically going down to 2018, 2017 level I kind of felt it. It wasn't a good feeling per se. You always think that the curve is gonna go up. I mean, that's not always the case. But what it kind of taught me is that, okay, well, this is a challenge. Something is happening. I need to do something. And again, I was back to the drawing board, trying to see what can I do? How can I get more clients? How can I sort of establish strong relationships with them? And how I can make sure that this situation never repeats again. Although, I mean, COVID was definitely something very out of the ordinary. The world hasn't seen anything like that, but still I wanted to put myself into a place where I wouldn't be feeling the same way or seeing this kind of a sudden revenue drop. And so we come to 2021. And as you can see, I actually rebuilt some of the revenue that I lost in 2020 through my efforts. And I kind of rebuilt some my client base. I started actively having, at least a few clients at a time, because I actually also made sort of few mistakes before where I was only relying one client at a time. And so if that client kind of goes away, then I quickly need to find something else. And then I kind of decided to never have, always have at least few clients and few, especially long-term projects going on, since you never know when, the projects are going to end. Their clients' needs and businesses, they always change. So I was really happy with that level. To be honest, I was not still reaching the peak, although if I'm just taking the freelancing income, it was actually about the same as 2019. Since you remember, I sold the site, so that revenue is a bit higher because of that. But regarding the freelancing revenue, which was about almost about 50K in 2019, now in 2021, I'm back at the same level. So as you can see, there is a lot of ups and downs going on. And if you kind of compare 2019 to 2021, technically I didn't even grow or anything happened when you only consider revenue. So I was kind of at the same kind of place. But because of 2020 and what happened during that year, I also vowed to kind of only focus on long-term clients and long-term projects. And that was I was actually kind of actively looking for. And 2022 proved to be a very fruitful year, because I reached another record, earned 70,000 euros during that year. And a couple of things to note during that year. So I had kind of one main client because I found the client and we made sort of a very big long-term agreement and contract, as well as some profit sharing agreement. So once I found this particular client, I was able to basically only focus on them majority of the time. Although I was looking for other clients always and trying to work with some other clients always, this one client definitely kind of brought one of the biggest chunks of revenue. So I was, able to kind of slow down a little bit and be picky with the other projects that I do. At that time, I also kind of started some other things. I mean, as you can see, every single year, I'm kind of starting something and seeing sort of what works. I started some new affiliate marketing site with the partner. Technically, he started the site, but I came in with sort of as a partner on that side. And I also had my own sort of another affiliate site that I kind of started in 2020, and it was sort of working in the background. So I'm always kind of was doing something, trying to dabble in many different aspects. But nonetheless, freelancing was still kind of my main job, my main career, my main income source. But towards the end of 2020, I actually had a problem. I didn't know what I wanted to do next. This is when I was kind of a bit in doubt of what I'm trying to do here and what is happening. And kind of my life is really good. I'm earning quite a lot, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do next. And that kind of, that thought did made me to actually do another affiliate marketing site, focus on some other side hustles and do something else. But then 2023, I earned basically about the same amount, just a couple of thousand euros difference, but basically the same amount as in 2022. However, during 2023, actually, I really focused on sort of expanding my client base through referrals. And at first, I did a lot of this subconsciously. I was not thinking about it, but it kind of just started happening as I was doing things. So, for example, and this is probably one of the best things that kind of I ever did in regards to freelancing. And you'll see why, because I did all these things during 2023, but the results of those things actually came the next year. So what I did is I actually started my personal newsletter. I actually updated and kind of started paying more attention to my personal website. I invested a lot more into LinkedIn. I also sort of tried to reach out to some previous clients and sort of connect with them, or maybe ask for referral or testimonial or something like that. So just trying to build relationships through there. I was more active on Twitter at that time. And I also joined PTYA, which is Ali Abdullah's part-time YouTubers Academy, because I wanted to sort of improve. And at that time, I was also kind of making YouTube videos. So I basically wanted to improve my video making skills and see sort of if that is something that I want to pursue as well. However, it's a long list of things, but what happened, because I was very active and I was kind of building my personal brand, although at that time I didn't really know, but I was basically building myself as a person online. Previously, I didn't really do anything regarding that. My personality online was, my Facebook and Instagram, but those are kind of my personal social channels that I didn't really expand beyond my friends and anything like that. But the only other basically profile or whatever you can see was my Upwork profile, where I had some feedback, testimonials, earnings, all of that sort of stuff. Besides that, I didn't have nothing before that, but in 2023, I started to basically expand it. And I'm very glad that I did, because I actually got so many connections, clients, and projects throughout basically social media and referrals and just building connections, that it took my whole freelancing journey to another level. For example, I actually got, because I started a newsletter, a person sort of started to kind of follow me and read that newsletter, and at some point he basically emailed me because we were kind of from the same country. We're also kind of freelancers, sort of. We connected, we actually got to know each other, we actually met in real life, and then after some time, I think it was maybe a year or 6 months after knowing us, he kind of got some projects, and he needed some SEO to be done for sort of a client of his kind of. And I got to work with a very big and very sort of interesting project through him. And then I got another project through him. So just by having a newsletter and just sharing my thoughts and everything, I was able to connect with a person that later on referred me actually to 2 very big projects. Then also Twitter was also kind of an interesting thing, because I was tweeting just about SEO and about YouTube, actually just random things. I also got to kind of engage with some people on there, and through that engagement, I found out that they have some sites that they also need help with for their SEO. So I started working on those. And then I've also got, although LinkedIn didn't bring me any significant clients, I actually got a lot more connections and sort of messages, and just sort of expanded that area and got sort of my profile to the next level. But I also, like, during the one place that I didn't ever expect to get clients was the PTYA, the Part-Time YouTubers Academy. I went in there as a student to learn about, YouTube and how YouTube works and what I need to do. But there were a lot of ways to kind of connect and meet people. And there were all sorts of people in that group. There were like, I don't remember, over 1,000 probably, us or something like that. It's just crazy. And I kind of accidentally connected with a person that also had sort of a site, his personal site, and again he wanted to expand his SEO. So he kind of hired me for some quick projects. We did some like short-term projects, nothing special, and then kind of ended. But then I think 7 or 8 months later, we kind of reconnected over email, and then we actually started working on a more regular basis because that person, he needed some more things to be done. But now we actually signed up a more longer term contract. And that contract actually lasts till this day. I'm working with that client for now, I think almost like 1.5 years, like nonstop. For this long-term project, and it's been sort of amazing from my freelancing kind of perspective. But another good thing, that particular client referred me to actually another client that I'm also currently working with. And then he also referred me to 2 other people, but although we didn't sign up any contracts and we kind of we didn't negotiate, like we didn't end up working together. It's crazy to think how just one person and one referral after next can kind of really push your business to a next level. And one thing that I have to say is that the best clients are usually through referrals. Like I had one of the best experiences like working with people through referrals, or if people basically found me online through newsletters, Twitter, or PTYA, those were the most exciting and interesting projects to work with. So if you're thinking, for example, that like maybe Upwork or a freelancing platform is the way to go, I still believe it's an amazing source for clients and to get started. But referrals is kind of a next level that you should eventually aim for, because it will bring you the most amount of success. And talking about success, actually, I forgot about this slide as well. So this is just a great example of when I was talking about that client that I met through PTYA. And basically that we started working together up to this day. I made almost 17,000 euros from that client alone. And if you look here at this 8,000 figure, that's actually another client that that first client referred him like to me. So in total, that's, what is it, like over 20, almost like 25,000 euros from just one connection and 2 different clients. And I mean, to be honest, I mean, that investment that I made to PTYA with the course that I think I bought for like $1,500 at that time, something like that, just paid off in full, basically. Although I didn't expect it to be this way, but as you can see, sometimes a lot of unexpected things also sort of happen, and you never know where you can find clients. So, you know, trying to be everywhere or trying a lot of different things you will eventually catch something that works. For me, it was actually just referrals and newsletters and PTYA and Twitter where I actually found a lot of success there. But then all of this referrals and all of these different clients and projects and whatnot ended up in this number. So far, I mean, it's kind of almost end of November, but so far I've already crossed 114,000 euros so far this year. I think we're probably gonna get to 120,000 euros this year, which means basically an average of 10K per month throughout the whole year. And the big success actually came from all of the things that I did in previous years. First of all of the long-term clients, like all long-term and like big projects were a part of this year, and 80% of the clients came from referrals. So I was not active on Upwork or sort of any other platform. It was mainly just through connections, networking, and all of that stuff that I basically received a big amount of projects and started actually receiving even invites through some other channels and some other profiles that I built. So eventually everything does compound. So for example, if you I built an Upwork profile, I'm still receiving invites just from random people finding my profile on Upwork and then messaging me about their project and wanting to start work. I don't have to kind of lift a finger, and I'm getting sort of that constant flow of clients. So whatever you do in your sort of freelancing journey, I think one of the biggest things that I learned is that sometimes you do things that at a time don't seem relevant. You write a LinkedIn post, or maybe you create a website, or maybe you write a newsletter, but you only have like 50 subscribers. Believe me, it does compound. So if you do something for a longer period of time, and you establish yourself as a sort of an expert in a certain area, then a lot of good things can come from it. But I mean, that's a whole entire video. I can talk about this like for hours. And I just want to come back to this slide and just finish off with saying that it took me 9 years to get to this point. If I would need to do it again, I would probably do it in maybe like around like 2 years or something like that. But as you can see, it was a bumpy ride. I kind of just glanced over 9 years. I mean, there was a lot more going on, probably some of the things that I even forgot that happened during each of these years. But I hope it gives you a way better understanding of how things actually work, and that you need to experiment and try a lot of things and sort of get yourself out there with newsletters, sites, social media, projects, and this way you would be able to actually achieve a good income. And I'm actually really happy that this year sort of turned out to be this way. I have big plans for next year. But I guess that's up for a next video. So now you know my story, but if you want to become a freelancer yourself, or just learn more about freelancing and how to succeed and basically kind of repeat and copy what I did, there's going to be a link in the description. So, ciao.